In 1950, a man sat down and wrote a paper asking one question: can machines think? And that question, asked before computers even existed, is the single reason why artificial intelligence exists today. And almost nobody knows who wrote it. Hey guys, Adam from 6flow here, and in this video, we're telling the full story of Alan Turing, the man who cracked Nazi codes during World War II, predicted the first computer before anyone had even built one, and most importantly, predicted artificial intelligence 50 years before it arrived, and tragically was destroyed by his own government before he saw any of it come true. This is one of the most important stories in modern history, and by the end of it, you'll never look at AI the same way again. First and foremost, who was Alan Turing? Alan Turing was born in 1912 in London, England, grew up to be a mathematician and computer scientist, died at age 41, and ended up having one of the most consequential lives in modern history. But let's set the record straight. This guy was not a normal kid. He was a genius. And when I say genius, he was that kid in the classroom who just seemed different. You knew he was different. He wasn't big into sports, but he was obsessed with math and science. There's even reports of teachers not knowing what to do with this kid because he was just so different from all the other students. This kid ended up going to King's College in Cambridge, that's a crazy thing to say, and studied mathematics over there. And this guy obviously was such a genius, he started asking questions that nobody had even asked. Once again, like his elementary and primary school days, this guy was just so different. He thought differently. And one of the questions he was thinking about that obviously nobody else was thinking about is, what are the limits of what a machine can compute? What are the limits with what a machine can even do? Then he finally asked the most pivotal question that is arguably the most important question any human has ever asked: can machines think? And not only did he just ask this question, he dedicated his whole life to try and answer this question. This guy was just obsessed with learning and finding out what the limits of machines are. And it's that passion, obsession, and that question exactly what led him to do some amazing things. So let's get into that. Chapter 2, what Alan Turing actually did. So to set the context here, we're around World War II, and Nazi Germany was using this machine called the Enigma machine to encrypt all military communications. In other words, hiding the communications, covering the communications within Nazi Germany so the other countries and the other allies didn't know what they were talking about. But then Alan Turing came in out of nowhere and developed a bomb machine to decode all Nazi communications and basically uncover all of that encryption. What a genius. And here's the thing that nobody talks about. It's that decoding of the Nazi communications that some historians say that resulted in the war being 4 years shorter and potentially saving 14 million lives. And as you guys probably know how pivotal World War II could have been, he may have changed the fate of the whole world as we know it. And we're just getting started with what this guy did in his career. Saving 14 million lives in World War II, that might be the second most significant thing he did in his life. We'll have to see how AI unfolds in the future, because if it unfolds the way it's unfolding, then this invention right here, the Turing machine, could be the most consequential and significant thing he did in his life. Without getting into the technicalities and the details of what a Turing machine is, it's essentially a conceptual framework, a theoretical basis for modern computers. So essentially, the framework that he came up with is the same framework used to create computers today and how computers are continuing to be created in the future. And check this out. He came up with the Turing Test. So this is just essentially a very simple and fun thought experiment. Can a machine show intelligent behavior? Yes, guys, he asked this question years ago. We're 50 years ago, right? And this is basically the imitation game. So there's a computer and a human both talking to a human, as you can see here, and basically human C has to determine who's the human and who's the machine based on the text. This aged so well in the modern world of AI and LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, because as you guys know, that stuff sounds so human and would definitely pass the Turing test today. I mean, maybe with the exception of a couple of M dashes here and there, but let's be real, people. ChatGPT and Claude can imitate a human very well. And this is one of the most fascinating parts in my head. I mean, he had a vision for AI that ended up being true. Basically, he predicted that machines would one day be able to learn and adapt, pretty much like how we're seeing modern LLMs like ChatGPT operate today. And he said this would happen over 50 years ago, and his prediction came so true, and he never even got to see it because he passed away quite some time ago. And the way he passed away, I can promise you, is not in the way you might expect. So let's get into chapter 3, the tragedy and legacy of Alan Turing. So he was living in a time where you could not be gay. Alan Turing was gay, and he ended up being legally prosecuted for being gay, and the courtrooms gave him an ultimatum. He was given the choice of going to prison or being chemically castrated. He chose the chemical castration option. And in 1954, at the age of 41, Alan Turing died with a half-eaten apple beside him. I can't make this stuff up. It's true, guys. The death was ruled a suicide, which makes sense given his prosecution and really difficult living conditions at the time. But some believe it was accidental. But the real irony behind this whole thing is that this is the man who helped shape the world as we know it, saved up to 14 million people in World War II, and was still prosecuted by his own country. And this man ended up being so influential. It's his ideas and his questions that ended up resulting in things like ChatGPT, N8N, Retail AI, and Claude. And it all started with a single question: can machines think? I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.